welcome to episode 2 of Ellie Asks. I'm joined by Julie today. I'm really excited to get talking to her. Last time, I kind of forgot to really talk about the whole point of Ellie Asks. I'm a coach and I ask lots of questions in my day job, and it really helps for my clients to really think about what things mean to them, what matter to them, and what's going on for them in their world. So the whole point of Ellie Asks is that I want you to, the listeners, to reflect on what this question means to you. How would you answer it? I mean, some of the things Julie and I say in this episode may really resonate with you, but some just like, no, that doesn't. And, that's great. That's absolutely fine, because that's the brilliant thing about people. We are all different and we all have different views and thoughts about the world. But what I want you to do is really think about, what does this mean to me and how would I answer that question? Because I think until we give ourselves the time and space to answer these really thought-provoking questions, we don't learn a great deal about ourselves. By answering them, we'll have a lot more self-awareness. So if we've got more self-awareness, if we find there's something that we no longer, believe anymore, or think, actually, I'm not so keen on that, I want to change it. If we have no self-awareness around any subject, we can't change it. So whilst you're listening to the podcast, have a think, how would I answer it? If Ellie was asking me, what would my answer be? Feel free to put on the Facebook page, Ellie Phillips Clarity Coaching, your answers. I'd really love to hear how yours differ or are similar to ours. That's enough for me for the moment. I'd like to introduce Julie. Julie, if you want to introduce yourself, a little bit about yourself, your business, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here with you, so thank you for having me on. My name's Julie Agnew. I am a full-time corporate worker, married, got a crazy fur baby, so I'm busy anyway, but around my full-time job I rock a side hustle and I help other women to build a business from their mobile phone, using makeup as a tool to do that. And so I think being in the corporate world, it can be quite high pressured, it can be quite stressful, dare I even say it, some days. So I think my side hustle brings some fun and allows me to explore other sides of my personality and other stuff too.
Yeah, I feel like I should mention that actually. I met Julie when we both worked with the same business coach, and when she told me that she worked full time and had a side hustle as well, I was like, whoa, that's amazing. She's like such a superwoman, and the makeup that she has is ace as well. I use it, so it's really worth checking out any of her. I'll put all her links on my Facebook page when this is all up and running. So Julie's question today that she chose for this episode is, what kind of advice would you give to your younger self? So Julie, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I was looking at the questions that you gave me, and there were a few that kind of stood out to me, and then I think I kept coming back to this one, and I think because this did resonate with me quite a lot, because my whole thing that probably I have stepped more into over the last couple of years, certainly more so since we've been working with our business coach, is I really choose to live my life by embracing my flaws, because we've all got them, right? None of us are perfect. And I think that anybody that tries to portray that is probably kidding themselves and everybody else. And, it's a mask that we put on. So for me, definitely, the thing I think, if I could jump back in time and speak to my younger self, I think I used to want to be liked by everybody. I still really do. I just want to be liked. That's part of my character. And I think I wanted everybody to like me, and so I probably tried to be things that I wasn't, or tried to hide certain parts of my personality, because I thought if I show that, my weirdness, my quirkiness, it might switch people off and then they might not like me. And I think what I've found as I've got older and as I've built my own self-confidence, my own self-worth, is we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but I am absolutely many people's glass of champagne, because why not? And I just think, yeah.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
think, yeah. And so I think when I actually sat down and kind of just had a word with myself, I realized actually that nobody's perfect. And when I realized that nobody is perfect, so the people that I was trying to be like or I compared myself to, because I compare myself and I've done it way more in the past. I think I always kind of thought, well, you're way more perfect than I am, or you know, you're perfect. But when I gave myself the permission just to actually acknowledge and see that they're not perfect, just the same way that I'm not perfect, I'm the same as them in that respect, and I could then relate. And it felt as though it took the pressure off me, because then I thought, well, do you know what? No, it's fine. It is all right for me to be quirky, weird. Sometimes I'm mouthy, and that's part of my personality. You know, I've got different parts of my personality, and so I think probably one of the biggest things that I would go back and tell myself is that stop trying to be perfect and just be you, all of you, your flaws, and embrace them, because when you do embrace your flaws, that's how you actually can move forward in life and be a lot happier, and you then shine a light for other people as well who maybe have the same struggles. And if they see you not worrying so much about your flaws and still being all of you, and showing those sides to your character, it kind of gives them permission to do the same as well. And I think that's a really cool thing. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
totally. All as you were talking, then I was really thinking that bit of it empowers others to go, oh, they're a bit quirky, or they're a bit kooky, or they like that thing. Oh, I really like that. So yeah, it empowers people to go and actually say, yeah, me too. I'm all right. I think from the clients that I've coached, this comes up so much that what you just said really resonates with me, and I think it will resonate with a lot of listeners as well. Because for me, the thing that I said is to care less, and that sounds awful. Like I just be more selfish. No, I didn't mean it like that, but it's almost like care less about what people think about me, because their thoughts are their thoughts, and they come in from their world and their experiences, and actually they might not like me because I've got a fringe. They might not like me because I've got blonde hair with a bit of colour in it, a bit of purple in it. And that's up to them. I can't do anything about that. So, that bit about caring less and do they really matter to me is the thing that I would have said as well. I would say that who are, and this is often something I say to my coaching clients, who are your core? Who are the people that absolutely matter and who you really don't want to upset, and you would do anything. And those core people in your life, your family and your really close friends. And actually, what about the next people, that actually, and nobody wants to, most people, I shouldn't say nobody, I think some people do choose to be unkind, and after we can all be unkind at times, but that a lot of the people I coach do really want to be liked, but it rules their world too much, rather than going, I'm me, and I'm okay with being me, and I've got freedom to be me. How would it have changed your life then if you'd been like that when you were younger? Do you think it
I
would
think,
have a massive impact?
yeah, definitely, because I think I would have owned my own self-worth a lot quicker than I did, because I've struggled with confidence, self-belief, self-worth for many years, not because of anything that anybody around me has particularly done, so you know, friends, family, whatever, but more because of the self-negative talk in my own head. And I think that's where the comparison part comes in, because you know, you can sit here thinking, I'm not as pretty as her, I'm not as thin as her, I'm not as good at speaking as her, I don't do that job as well as her. And I know certainly since I've started building my community of people on Facebook and social media, even face to face, and I have started speaking about this more, actually so many people resonate. Everybody, I think, in some way, shape, or form, compares themselves to somebody at some point in their lives, and it can be a really vicious headspace, I think, to get yourself
Yeah.
in, because it's really hard to get yourself out of it. But I think for me, and this light bulb really only went off a few weeks ago, was that I think it was at the time when I did give myself permission to accept that other people aren't perfect, which is not something that I've really sat and thought about before. that's when I think the pressure came off myself, because I realised we are all people. We all suffer with some part of comparison, lack of self-belief probably. It's just probably some people don't show it as much as others. Um, some people just choose to live their life regardless and embrace their flaws, and that's how they push through life. And that's, I think I've definitely led a more joyful life since I've started doing that, because it is less pressure, and I just think I don't have to, as you say, care so much. And I definitely agree with what you've said there, care less about what others think, because if they choose to come from a place of judging you, or they don't like you because the colour of your hair, maybe because I wear glasses, maybe my eyebrows are too much for them, whatever it might be.
Never.
You can never have too much eyebrows, but yeah, but that's their story. It's not mine, and it's not yours, and it's not, it is their story. And I think once you can flip your mindset to that as well, that it's their story, it's not yours, and actually the right people in life will love you, because your vibe absolutely 1,000,000% does attract your tribe. And the people that are meant to be in your world and be in your space will not judge you, not all the time, there might be the odd time in their own head, because we've all got the comparison thing, but it's their story, not ours. And I think that was a huge shift for me as well. And I just think as soon as I kind of realised all of that, I started owning who I am. I started owning my self-worth, my self-belief, and my confidence naturally grew, because I was purposely pushing myself out of my comfort zone by sharing this bit of me, and not keeping it as hidden, or doing this little thing, and just sort of that kind of
I
stuff.
also think that once you've seen it in yourself, and once you've accepted that and accepted your flaws and gone, I wish this was a little bit different, but I'm okay with it. Actually, you can spot it in other people as well. I had went for a walk with a friend the other day, and they were talking about a colleague, and they were saying, and basically this colleague wasn't being particularly kind, and I said, well, have a think what's going on for them at this point. What are they doing? What are they masking because of this? What's like, so which bit they're pushing that forward to hide something else behind it, and almost I think it gives people acceptance of other people's behaviours, and not saying that her colleague's behaviour is right and kind and just and fair, but it allowed her to go, oh yeah, okay, yeah, so actually there's maybe a bit of feeling a bit like trying to feeling a bit inferior, and therefore not to show that inferiority, I'm just going to go and show my power over you, rather than go, actually I'm not really sure how to do that, or rather than being vulnerable, because obviously that person isn't that self-aware with regards to what's going on for them, so they bring another part of their self forward to try and mask it. But then, like I said, if you can find it and you can see it in other people, or if you can't even see it, or maybe just think something else is going on for them, it's not about me. It's actually it's not necessarily about what's going, you as a person, or what you're saying, or what you're projecting, or anything like that. It has more to say about them. I'm just wondering now, then, if we've gone backwards, what do you think your 6-year-old self would say to you about now? What advice would they give you?
So I did think about going backwards, but I didn't actually think about going forwards and then coming backwards. But I think my 60-year-old self would say, keep on sharing, all of you, because the minute, like I said, that we choose to share, all of us, the weird, the crazy, the quirky, the stuff. And I think part of it as well is sometimes we think that by showing that side of us, other people won't like us, but actually that's us, and we're actually choosing what somebody else is going to think about us before we've even shown it. So I think my 60-year-old self would just keep saying, just keep showing up, keep embracing your flaws, keep growing through everything that you're going through, and just keep being that lighthouse that then shines for everybody else, because that's when we create a ripple effect around the world. And that's obviously what I'm trying to do, is to just encourage people to be less perfect and show up as who they are now,
Do you want to
And
explain a little bit more about the whole lighthouse analogy? Because I'm very aware of the lighthouse analogy. I'm just wondering whether some of our listeners won't necessarily have heard that before. And I think it's a really powerful analogy to use, and I think they'd really benefit from that.
sorry, I just kind of just went off there, didn't I, without actually thinking I need to explain this.
That's no,
So
it's all right. It's only like it's not a problem. It's absolutely fine. Go for it if you're happy to.
So a lighthouse just stands tall, it shines, it just shines its light. It doesn't actually think about who it is attracting. It just stands there and shines brightly, and I don't even know how to explain this actually. It just boats in particular with a lighthouse are attracted in because they can see the light, and they're guided towards that.
Yeah.
So that really is the analogy. So if you can be the lighthouse in your life, so standing tall, being proud of who you are, embracing your flaws, and just living your life as all of you, in effect you're gonna spark a light for the people around you that maybe are in a little bit of darkness at the moment, and maybe don't feel that they can move through life showing people who they are. And instead of hiding people, you're in effect giving people permission to be all of them. And sometimes we switch their lights on and they become a lighthouse, and then it's a ripple effect
Yeah.
through the world.
I think a lot of people have said to me about leaving the teaching profession. They're like, and it's amazing how many people have said, "I'm so proud of you. I can't believe you've gone and done it. That's amazing. I wish I could make that change." Because actually, it's coming from a place from them that are going, "You've made that jump. You've made that leap. You're changing your life. You're doing something different." Is making other people's cogs turn about, well, where's my life going? Where do I want to go? What is it that I want to do? So actually me making that jump is then almost being that lighthouse for the guiding people, boats to where they may need to go, or at least that first part of the journey a little bit. So yeah, I when I thought about, sorry to throw that 60-year-old self into you, you didn't have much time to think about it. But it's like that was like a bit of a little coaching session there. I just threw it in there, and but I think it's worth thinking about. I know that my 60-year-old would be saying to me, "Keep going, because you've got lots to offer, lots to give, and it's saying your bit is worthwhile, because not everyone will agree." And I think it's the same with your message. Not everyone is in your tribe. Not everyone is going to be in my tribe. But that's okay. But there will be loads of people that this resonates with. There'll be loads of people that are like, "Oh, wow, I've never really heard anybody speak like this before," like the two of us are speaking, and being quite vulnerable out there, because obviously this is going to go out on social media, to go, this is how I feel. I struggle sometimes. I've got flaws. I worry about what people think of me. I'd like to be liked, but I know I'm not going to be always liked by everybody. And like it's coming back again, that full circle of that. We're empowering people to go, "Oh, okay, I can be like that. It's okay. I don't have to hide behind a mask at all." Yeah, I'm thinking about my girls. So I've got two girls, like almost like what can I do now to help them on that journey, to make sure that what advice would they give themselves? Oh, that's walked my brain a little bit, that, to go, well, what do I do in the here and now when they're really little?
Yeah.
To build that empowerment and build that pushing their comfort zones and things like that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay not to be liked, but be kind and look after each other and look after the people around you.
I agree. I don't have children, but I think just by being you and embarking on this journey that you've started, so you've been a teacher, you've been very successful. So they've seen mum, haven't they, study to be a teacher and be in a profession that she loved. So there's been that example, and now you've shown them that actually it's okay to change and do something else. If you feel that that's where your passion lies, or that's where you think you can make a difference, and just, as you say, encourage them to grow through their mistakes and just to be them and not apologize for who they are. I was speaking with a lady the other day who constantly is apologizing for things, and actually sometimes she's apologizing for things that aren't for her to apologize for. And so I think as women we just beat ourselves up for everything that we do that's not right, and don't recognize all of the good stuff within us and all of the good things that we do. So I think it's really important that we do start getting good at, in our own heads, giving ourselves a pat on the back for everything that we are getting right as
Yeah, I
well.
think there's that thing where they say, would you put up with a friend speaking to you the way you speak to yourself? And actually, no, gosh, no. At times, I absolutely wouldn't. They would be out of my life completely. There's no way I'd be friends with them because thinking, you're certainly not in my tribe because you're not speaking to me very kindly. So I'm not spending any more time with you. Thank you very much. So we're sort of coming towards the end now, but I really want us to sort of recap the things that I'd really love the listeners and the viewers, if you're watching on social media, that to go have some awareness around what advice would you give your younger self, and also what would your 60-year-old self to say to you now, because it could still be worry less. Because actually, are you going to be that worried about it in a year's time? If you're not going to be worried about it in a year's time, is there much point in worrying about it? I have a lot of clients who worry about things and how much does it matter, and also think about who's in your core group of people that really matter, who's on the periphery, and then everybody else. Do their opinions really matter in the long run? And how you would answer it, and then how that might then shape your life differently. I know there'll probably be some people listening to this going, well, I wouldn't give myself any different advice, because I wouldn't change, because the way I am has brought me to who I am today. Has that been the case for you, do you think, in some ways?
I think certainly since starting my side hustle, I found self-development and personal development. So I've become a lot more self-aware. And I think that was probably it was the catalyst to me starting my confidence journey, and starting on that path. And from various different books and things that I've read, and different people that I've taken content and training from, and our business coach, I definitely agree that the universe has us where we're always meant to be at the right time, whether you believe in God or the universe or something spiritual, or you don't believe in anything. We're always where we're meant to be, and there are things pushing us towards where we're meant to be at certain times in our lives. So I probably would say, definitely, I mean, I think our pasts always shape who we are right now, 100%. But I think the more self-aware you come, the more inner work you do, and the more, for me certainly, it has been about just embracing my flaws, who I am, and being kinder to myself, which then has meant also I've been able to be kinder to other people as well. A little bit like you were saying
Yeah.
earlier, you just don't know what somebody's woken up to that morning. And I would never, probably, I used to be quite a negative person, and could be quite selfish, and I just think sometimes it's all about you, whereas sometimes you do just have to take that step back and just think, hang on a minute, I just don't know what that person's woken up to that morning and what's causing that. And like you say, they're pushing one part of their personality forward because they're a bit scared maybe about revealing the vulnerable side and
Yeah.
the other side. So it's kind of breaking through those barriers and chipping away at that as well. But I do think, yeah, probably my past has shaped who I am now, definitely.
I also think that maybe you can put, although like we're all about embracing our flaws and saying that we're not perfect and all those things, but almost looking at them, like you say, like not looking at them from a negative point of view, going, right, I'm going to look at these flaws and how has that made me? So I'd say I'm quite an overthinker, and I have, at times more so. It kind of depends what's going on, particularly with my core and my peripheral. I overthink and I worry about if I've upset somebody or something. But that
Yeah.
overthinking, when I think about it, actually, that overthinking isn't always a negative thing, because it makes me a really considerate friend, because I really
Mm-hmm.
think about that other person and maybe what they're going through. If somebody has a hospital appointment, or they're doing something that's pushing them out of their comfort zone, an interview or something like that, I will overthink about stuff, but then I'll make sure I just a text in the morning to go, good luck, or so sometimes this overthinking drives me a little bit crazy, but it's like a superpower that I use for good as well.
Yeah.
almost, you know, like it's not always negative. Yes, it does drive me bonkers and I just need to shut it off sometimes and go, this isn't helping. But actually that overthinking side and thinking about other people does make me really considerate. So that's another thing maybe that our listeners can look at. Well, what do I consider my flaws? I'm always really interested in also, how do other people see you? Because ask some close friends, you know, how do you see me? What are my qualities, or what are the things that you see that you know, that you can really see? Because often we don't see those, or we push them down and we push them to the side and focus on the negative and on the flaws, rather than looking at the positive bits.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me on episode 2. You've been amazing, and you can see all Julie's social media and everything I'll put on the Facebook group. Please like and share. Everybody, the bigger the tribe, the better. So thanks again. Take care.